Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're doing good today. Well, I'm really excited. It took 3 years, but after 3 years, I've got great onions. I've got some really nice ones. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share with you 3 things that I think are the most important when it comes to growing onions. 3 things that I have learned over these last 3 years that really helped me, and I'm sure it will help you. And you guys, actually, the comments and stuff really helped out a bunch, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit too. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let me start off by saying this. I do not consider myself an expert when it comes to growing onions. I have grown them for the last 3 years in a raised bed, and I really have learned a lot. For years I tried growing them in my regular garden and my clay soil. I just really didn't have any success. And then a viewer comment, he suggested that I try a raised bed. And so I have learned a lot in the last 3 years, but I don't consider myself an expert. So please, in the comments, if you see something in this video that you want to share something to help me or help another gardener, please do, because I really think it is important. Now you see what they look like today, and they are really dying off. I'm going to pick a lot of these today except for the ones that are standing up, but about a week ago they were still green and the tops were really nice and big. And we had a storm and it just blew them down. A lot of them. Some of them it just bent, and those I left. But the ones that were broke, the necks on them had broke, I went ahead and picked them that day. And when that neck breaks, what that is telling that plant is it's done growing. It's not going to grow anymore. And because I was scared it might get a rot or something in it, that's why I picked them ones. Now, this goes to the first thing that is very important when you grow onions, and that is plant them at the right time. The tops on my onions, they were huge. And so I'm speaking now on a long day onion. You have to get them in early enough where they get that nice big top before it gets to 14 hours of daylight, which here in Indiana, that's sometime, middle of May, maybe towards the end of May, because then at 14 hours of daylight, it's going to start putting energy into growing that bulb. So the bigger your top is, the bigger your bulb's going to be. So short day, long day, you have to plant them at the right time or you're just not going to be as successful. The first year that I planted them, I made a video on it. I showed you how they came out, and I think I just planted them too late, and the bulbs were not very big at all. And so that was a lesson that I learned the hard way. Now let's go ahead and talk about the second thing that I have learned that I think is important when you're growing onions. All right, so before I go any farther, if you have watched this video and liked it and you have found value in it, please consider subscribing. I really would appreciate it. And as always, it is free. So let me go ahead and show you this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pick this one. And that's a nice onion. That's a nice big onion. I'm really happy with them. But take a look over here. Let me show you this one. A lot smaller. And, this isn't exactly what you want, but I think I know what happened. And so let me explain what I did kind of wrong, but why I did it. So let me show you this. Okay, so we're out here where my pigs are, and this is where I got the dirt for my raised bed. I made a video on it, and then at that time, I was concerned with excessive nitrogen because of this right here. Okay, so what you're seeing there is just a lot of pig manure. I'm sure there's chicken manure, a little bit of goat manure. And so all spring, summer, fall, this is right in front of the barn, and this is probably one of their favorite places to go to the bathroom. And I knew when I dug that soil up, you know, the manure had got pushed into the soil. It probably wasn't aged. And so I was really concerned with excessive nitrogen. And that is where I made a mistake. You know, them smaller bulbs, I should have added a little bit of steep manure or used like a side dressing maybe, where, you know, they just needed a little more nitrogen to get them tops bigger, because they were just small the whole time they were growing. If I could have got them tops a little bigger, the bulbs would have been bigger. But, you know, and another thing is this was kind of an experiment, and I didn't want to mess with it. I just wanted to see what that soil would do with nothing on it. But one thing that I've learned, this is the second thing here, is onions can take a lot of nitrogen. You know, I feel like no matter what, you know, the bigger ones, maybe they just had a little more nitrogen in the soil. You know, just luck of the draw basically. But I really think that it wouldn't have hurt at all to add more nitrogen. So if you got a plant that maybe just ain't growing quite as big in that first part, you know, that first stage where you're trying to get that top green, hit it with some nitrogen. I don't think you're going to hurt it at all. I think some of mine would have come out better if I had done that. Well, let's go on to the third one. And this one, you guys helped me out a bunch on. All right, so just as a recap, the first one, it's really, really important. You got to plant them at the right time. The second thing is if you need them, that top to get a little bit bigger, you know, the green part, don't be scared to give it some nitrogen. I don't think you can overdo it. Now, the third thing is water. And this is where you guys helped me out in the comments. You know, when last year I made some videos in my raised bed, and you guys were saying, you're just not watering enough. Well, I did not realize how hot these raised beds got. When I was out here weeding, it was like an oven. I am not making that up. And so every day, I did not miss a day. I watered every day. And in a space like this, we're talking gallons. I can't overstate it enough. If you're not going to water them, don't even grow them. Now, this brings me to another point real quick. Last year, I told you earlier in the video, last year I probably had bigger onions than I did this year. But last year, they split right about this time, right when I was getting ready to harvest them. And at that time, I thought that it was an excessive nitrogen issue, because that was one of the things I had read. I believe they split because I didn't water them enough. I do not have that problem with any of these. You know, again, after 3 years, I finally got some really great onions. But I do have a question. As I said, I'm not an expert, but when I picked them ones the other day, what I did was I put them in my garage where it is fairly dark, and I just left them like this. And I know you're supposed to cut them about 2 inches. You don't want to cut them too close to the bulb, but I just left them long. And I've just been kind of rolling them, you know, every few days. And so far, you know, this outside skin's getting nice and brown. They're really firm, so I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. But please, share in the comments, because again, I just don't have a lot of experience with drying and storing them, and so anything would help. Well, that's the video. Let me know what you think, and thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. See ya.